All right, so let's take a look at 3.2. So another one we're going to look at Boolean strings. Um, again, I need to clean out the video piece because apparently that's not there. But we're going to look at different comparison operators. We're going to look at how we can start um, to compare things and making sure that we compare the right types of things. So again, really quickly, we can't compare strings directly with numeric values, and that's really our biggest thing that's going to pop out is all right. So I'm going to start that out with 3.2 and the whole thing, and then I'm going to save it here in a second. So these comparison operators, greater, less than, equal to, um, the single equals, that assignment operator, greater than, less than. All right, and this one we start to use more and more. That idea of it's not equal to. So in other words, if I'm going to compare 3 is not equal to 3, that's going to come up false. So you got to work your head around some of the logic in there. And so sometimes that's the best way to do it. All right, write the code to test if x is equal to 13, true or false. Okay, and x equals 9 plus 4. All right, so let's take a look at that really quickly. So if we're going to use x, so x is equal to 9 plus 4. So we've assigned a value to x. We may want to check it. All right. It does add it together if I do it that way. Always good to know. All right. So now I need to see if x is equal to 13. Now, I ran that and it printed x, so we kind of have a clue. And hopefully we can add in our head what 9 plus 4 is. But I want the computer to look and see if we can make that decision. So if so we're going to say if x is equal to, now here's where it gets tricky. If I do this, I'm comparing a numeric with a numeric. Perfect. Print. Now, there's other ways we can do this, but I'm going to use it as a print statement. Now, you could just say then else. So what this should do then is compare those two and tell us if it's true or false. We are not going to see the printed output. We're just going to see the. So anytime we do something like this, though, I'm always tempted to say, is it going to work if it's not that? Oh, all right. So it seems like we can do that. We're testing if x is equal to 3. So here we have another example. So write the code to test if 3 plus 3 is greater than 2 plus 4. True or false? Okay. Well, what if I just took this very statement up here and I'm just going to copy that down here for step 7 or 8. All right. And I'm going to copy that code down here. So, but instead of here having x, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put in my values. 3 plus 3 is greater than 2 plus 4. Now, if I think about that, if I combine those terms, is 6 greater than 6? So it should say no. Let's hopefully see what happens when we run it. and it should say false, or in other words, it's not true. All right. So it does let us add numbers directly in there. Um, I would probably say you probably don't want to hard code numbers into your if-then statements if possible, but that'll work. All right. Correct the code above to make the statement in step 8 equals true. So instead of a greater than, if we just did an equals, that's going to return a true value. That's one way to do that. All right. So we have to be a little careful about these comparison operators. So they give us a lot of examples here. X equals 21. If x is greater than 25, print bigger. So they give us a lot of these. If x does not equal the test value. So number 12 says, write the code to create an if-else statement that will test if y is greater than or equal to x plus x. Oh, all right. So test the code using x equals 3 and y equals x plus 8. Oh. Example output. Y is greater than or equal to x plus x is true or false. All right. So let's take a look at this logic just a little bit for number 12. So we're asking a question. We're saying we need to create, is x plus x less than or greater than y? So let's follow their logic a little bit. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign y equals x plus 8, and then I'm going to do x equals 3. All right. So I've done that, and now I want to say test the code using x equals 3 and y equals x plus 8. And our output should be print y is greater than or equal to x plus x is space, and then we're going to have whether it's true or false. So I'm going to call it result. Okay. And I think I'm going to call this value at the end result. So to start with, I'm going to say result is not in here yet. But so if, and here's where we're going to find some of that. So here we're going to say x plus x is greater than or equal to, starts with y, never mind. If y is greater than or equal to x plus x, then result equals and then we could do an else. Result equals false. F-A-L-S-E. All right. So we've got our values. We've got our piece here. And so now I just need to make sure my print statement looks correct. Y is greater than or equal to x plus plus is result, because I'm going to pass that out at the end. All right. So I'm going to run this and see what happens when we get there. So those are ignored. Y is greater than or equal to x plus x is true. Okay. let's see if that should be true or not. So x equals 3. So if that should be this value of 6. So if y, which is x plus 8, so 3 plus 8, so 11 is greater than or equal to 6. Yep, that should work out true. So this is one way of 150 million. Now, what I really thought was going to happen, and I tried to set it up, but apparently it's a little smarter than I am now. It used to be this would cause a trip up because I'm asking for this value for x before I actually assign it. So quite frankly, I really should have this first because we need a value for x to then get plugged in here. And you could change this value of x to different things. So you could say, what happens if I change it to 8? And you could run it, and it's still true. So, but you can try that with different numbers. Try it and test it. You can even do this. You could say, and make sure that that logic works to produce a false, and it does. So working with these conditionals just takes a lot of setting them up and thinking about how they're going to function and be willing to work through your logic. So I tend to play around with them because sometimes you'll see one and it makes sense in your brain, and then when you actually try to run it, you've got something backwards. So the biggest thing I run into that I keep doing is I forget to do the equal sign if I'm doing one that requires it. I'll forget to do that. All right. So that's 3.2. We will add some other ones in then as the week progresses. Remember that this week ends, and then we have your spring break, so or a short break anyway. So pay attention to some of the dates, and I will try to send out some reminders on those. All right. Thank you.